In an economic landscape where financial stability seems increasingly like a luxury and social mobility a distant dream for many, the idea of building wealth from a fixed salary can sound like a utopia. The reality for the vast majority is a routine of hard work, with the monthly paycheck serving only to cover basic expenses, pay off debts, and perhaps allow for an occasional breather. The feeling of being trapped in a cycle where effort does not translate into prosperity is palpable and frustrating. We live in a society that, while talking about meritocracy, often fails to provide the proper tools for the average individual to transcend their financial condition through their labor. Financial education, for example, is still a privilege for a few, and access to investments that truly generate significant returns is barricaded by barriers of knowledge and initial capital. The dilemma is clear: how to transform the money that comes in monthly into a pillar of wealth growth, rather than just a means of immediate subsistence. This is the starting point, the core of the issue that many face daily without a clear direction. The central problem lies in the way most people view their salary. It is seen predominantly as an end in itself, a resource to be consumed and managed to meet the demands of the present. The earn-to-spend mentality is deeply ingrained, making it difficult to adopt a long-term perspective where the salary becomes a springboard for wealth creation. The lack of knowledge about effective money management strategies, combined with the constant pressure of consumerism and economic uncertainties, creates an environment where getting rich seems like an unattainable goal. Most available guidance tends to be generic, focusing on saving a small percentage or cutting superfluous expenses, which, while useful, is rarely enough to generate a transformative impact on one's net worth. True transformation requires a deeper approach, one that goes beyond simple cost-cutting and embraces proactivity in generating and multiplying capital. The unique angle of this discussion lies in demystifying the process of building wealth from a salary. The proposal is not to present magic formulas or get-rich-quick schemes, but rather a practical and accessible guide based on solid principles and concrete actions that any individual with a regular salary can implement. The intention is to equip the reader with a set of tools and strategies that, when applied consistently, can lead to a significant change in their financial trajectory. The journey that begins here aims to deconstruct the limiting belief that only those who inherit fortunes or have an extraordinary salary can build wealth. On the contrary, we will demonstrate how the salary itself, when well managed and used intelligently, can become the primary engine for achieving financial independence and, consequently, prosperity. The relevance of this approach to your experience is undeniable. If you find yourself at this crossroads feeling that your effort at work does not translate into financial security or the achievement of your greater goals, then this is your starting point. This is not about criticizing or judging current habits, but about offering an alternative path, a new perspective on how your money can work for you. The promise is one of clarity and direction, pointing toward a future where financial control is not a source of stress but of confidence and opportunity. We are about to embark on an exploration of how every salary, regardless of its amount, can be the foundation for building solid and lasting wealth. Let's unravel the strategies that transform what enters your checking account into a true engine of prosperity. This journey is not about extreme deprivation, but about financial intelligence and strategic planning. We will explore everything from the meticulous organization of personal finances to the intelligent allocation of resources across various investment fronts, including the development of skills that enhance your earning potential and the growth mindset that sustains the entire process. The ultimate goal is to empower you to break free from financial stagnation and to walk a path toward achieving your independence and wealth, using your own salary as the primary tool for this transformation. Prioritizing an emergency fund is a fundamental step, often overlooked, but it forms the solid foundation for any wealth-building strategy. Having an amount equivalent to 6 to 12 months of your essential expenses saved in an easily accessible place with daily liquidity, such as a high-yield savings account or a money market fund, acts as a shield against unforeseen events. Think of it as building a safety floor beneath your feet, before you start climbing the financial ladder. Without this safety net, any unexpected event, be it a layoff, a health problem, or an urgent car repair, can force you to undo strategic investments or worse, to take on high-interest debt, sabotaging all your progress. The peace of mind that comes from knowing you have a financial cushion allows you to make more rational and long-term investment decisions without the panic of needing the money at any moment. The second crucial element is optimizing cash flow through rigorous yet flexible budgeting. More than just tracking expenses, it's about understanding where every cent of your salary is going and identifying real opportunities for reallocation. This can range from negotiating service contracts you use regularly, like phone or internet plans, to reevaluating subscriptions and loyalty programs that are not being effectively utilized. A key differentiator here is to segment your expenses into essential, non-essential, and investment categories. This provides a crystal clear view of where you can tighten your belt without compromising your quality of life, freeing up resources that can be directed toward your emergency fund or more profitable investments. Additionally, it is imperative to explore the world of investments so that your money starts working for you. A simple savings account, though safe, rarely outpaces inflation in the long run, resulting in a loss of purchasing power. Thus, diversifying your investments is the way to go. Start with more conservative options, such as government bonds or low-fee fixed-income funds, which offer predictable returns and low risk. As your stability increases and your knowledge deepens, consider gradually migrating to options that may offer higher returns, such as stocks of solid companies, real estate investment trusts, REITs, that generate passive income, or even actively managed investment funds that seek to outperform the market. The key is to understand your investor profile, your risk appetite, your goals, and your desired time horizon to make choices aligned with your reality. An often underestimated aspect is maximizing your own income-generating capacity. Your current salary is just a starting point. Developing new skills, seeking certifications, or taking advanced courses in your field can open doors to promotions, salary increases, or even new, better-paying job opportunities. Think about how you can add more value in your current job, or how your skills can be monetized in other ways. This could include freelance work, one-off consulting gigs, or even developing a small side business using skills you already possess. This diversification of income streams not only accelerates the process of capital accumulation, but also provides additional security if your primary source of income is compromised. Last but not least, cultivating a long-term investment mindset is what sustains the entire process. Building wealth is not a 100-meter dash, but a marathon that requires patience, discipline, and resilience. There will be ups and downs in the financial market, and it is in these moments that your conviction in the fundamentals of your choices will be tested. Instead of reacting impulsively to market fluctuations, stay focused on your goals and the strategy you have laid out. Consistency in investing, reinvesting profits, and periodically reviewing your investment portfolio, adjusting it as necessary, are practices that, over time, pave the way for consistent and significant wealth growth. Believing in the power of time and compound interest is one of the pillars for transforming an ordinary salary into a legacy of wealth. Expanding your financial horizons beyond your base salary requires a continuous reassessment of your own skills and how they can be capitalized on in new market niches or more efficiently in your current occupation. The pursuit of technical improvement, whether through short courses focused on emerging digital tools, agile project management methodologies, or even mastering a new language that broadens professional opportunities, represents a direct investment in your human capital. This enhancement is not limited to acquiring certificates. It involves internalizing practical knowledge that can be applied to solve complex problems, optimize processes, and consequently add tangible value for your employer or for your clients. In potential side projects, think like a craftsman who refines their tools and techniques to create works of higher added value, transforming raw material, in this case your time and knowledge, into products or services more coveted by the market. Another fundamental pillar is the exploration of passive income sources, which provide earnings without the need for active and continuous involvement, freeing up time for other initiatives or for leisure. Concrete examples include income generated from rental properties, dividends from stocks of companies with a history of consistent distribution, royalties from intellectual property like books or music, or even the creation of digital content such as online courses or ebooks, which can generate recurring sales after the initial investment of time and effort in their production. This mode of earning, unlike active income where time is exchanged for money, decouples your earnings from your available time, creating a cash flow that can be reinvested to further accelerate wealth growth. The secret here is to identify niches where demand is perennial and the value proposition is clear, ensuring that the created asset continues to bear fruit over time. Furthermore, it is strategic to explore the power of partnerships and qualified networking to leverage your earnings. Connecting with professionals from other fields, experienced mentors or potential investors can open doors to business opportunities that would never arise in isolation. A successful collaboration, for example, might involve combining complementary skills to launch a new product or service, sharing the costs of an ambitious project, or even joining forces to negotiate better terms with suppliers. The quality of your connections and how you nurture these relationships can translate directly into new revenue streams, access to privileged information about market trends, and investment opportunities before they become widely known. Cultivating a solid support network is, in essence, expanding your own reach and execution capacity. A more subtle but equally important aspect is the proactive management of your debt. While debt for personal consumption should be avoided at all costs, strategic debt, when used to acquire assets that appreciate or generate income, can be a catalyst for wealth building. For example, a mortgage to acquire a rental property or a low-interest loan to invest in a business with a high projected return can accelerate wealth accumulation. However, the cost-benefit analysis must be extremely rigorous, comparing the loan's interest rate with the expected return on the investment. A miscalculation in this equation can have the opposite effect, turning what would be an accelerator into a brake on your finances. Therefore, every debt incurred must be a calculated decision, with a clear repayment plan and a proven financial return. Finally, understanding and continuously applying the principles of financial education is the foundation that supports all these strategies. This goes beyond knowing how to invest. It involves understanding concepts like inflation, compound interest, risk diversification, tax implications, and estate planning. Staying updated on financial market news, reading landmark books, following trusted experts, and, if possible, seeking qualified professional advice can make a substantial difference in the effectiveness of your financial decisions. It is a continuous learning process, where each new piece of knowledge acquired adds to your ability to make more informed and strategic decisions, transforming your salary not just into a means of subsistence, but into a powerful tool for building wealth over time. Continuous learning in financial management manifests in increasingly dynamic and personalized ways in the digital age. Beyond reading books and following experts, immersing yourself in interactive financial education platforms offers practical investment simulations, allowing users to test strategies in a risk-free environment. These digital tools, often gamified, transform the learning process into something more engaging and less intimidating, especially for beginners. Think of apps that allow you to simulate the allocation of a diversified portfolio, adjust risk parameters, and observe the simulated results across various economic scenarios. This virtual experimentation is a valuable exercise for consolidating theoretical knowledge and developing a sharp, critical sense about investment decisions. Furthermore, a detailed understanding of the tax system is an undeniable advantage in wealth optimization. It's not just about paying taxes, but about intelligently using the deductions and tax benefits that legislation offers. Knowing which expenses can be deducted from your income tax, for example, such as health and education, costs can represent significant savings that, instead of going to the government, can be redirected to your investments. A deeper study of different tax regimes for certain types of investments, such as the tax treatment of dividends or returns from specific investment funds, can reveal optimization opportunities that increase your net profitability. It's about playing the financial game within the established rules, but with maximum efficiency. Another important layer in building wealth from a salary is adopting an investment philosophy focused on value and long-term growth. Instead of chasing fleeting trends or trying to guess short-term market movements, the value approach consists of identifying solid companies with resilient business models, clear competitive advantages, and that are trading at prices below their perceived intrinsic value. This strategy, popularized by investors like Warren Buffett, requires patience and conviction in business fundamentals. Long-term growth, in turn, focuses on companies that demonstrate a consistent history of increasing profits and revenues, with potential for future expansion in their respective markets. In this context of constant improvement, consider how negotiation and persuasion become tangible financial skills, especially in negotiating large purchases or in business deals. Knowing how to argue about the value of an asset, seek more favorable payment terms, or even negotiate interest rates on financing can generate savings that add to your net worth. This negotiation skill is not limited to the professional environment. It can be applied when acquiring a property, buying a car, or even negotiating service contracts. Every saving achieved through good negotiation represents a direct addition to the capital that can be invested. Finally, building a financial legacy, which transcends personal accumulation, comes into play. This involves thinking about how the wealth you've built will be managed and passed on to future generations, or how it can be used to positively impact society. Estate planning, for example, through the creation of wills, donations, or family holding companies, can minimize inheritance tax costs and ensure that assets are distributed according to your wishes. Furthermore, developing a philanthropic philosophy aligned with your values can transform part of your wealth into an engine for social change, providing an even greater purpose for the effort of building wealth. Proficiency in negotiation, often relegated to the strictly corporate environment, reveals itself to be a surprisingly broad personal wealth-building tool in an individual's daily life. Going beyond simply bargaining for a retail discount, mastery of this art involves a deep understanding of the intrinsic value of goods and services, allowing for assertive and strategic communication in all commercial interactions. Consider, for example, the acquisition of real estate. A skillful negotiation is not limited to discussing the list price. It encompasses meticulous research of the local real estate market to understand the fair value of comparable properties, analysis of factors that could influence the future value of the property, such as urban development or planned infrastructure in the region, and the identification of potential leverage points, like the seller's need to close the deal quickly. By presenting a well-founded offer that demonstrates market knowledge and flexibility on other contractual clauses, such as payment deadlines or the inclusion of furniture, you maximize your chances of obtaining a significantly more advantageous price. This saving, however small it may seem in the short term, when reinvested, accumulates exponentially over time, composing a substantial portion of your net worth. Furthermore, the meticulous application of estate planning and the structure of family holding companies act as intricate mechanisms for the preservation and optimization of accumulated capital, transcending mere individual accumulation. Consider the establishment of a holding company, a company created specifically to hold and manage shares in other companies or assets. By concentrating wealth in a single entity, administration, succession, and tax optimization are facilitated. For example, the transfer of assets to a holding company can be structured to significantly reduce the tax burden on inheritances and donations. Additionally, the holding company can be configured so that heirs receive ownership of the assets gradually and under control, managed by a designated board or administrator, ensuring the continuity of the long-term vision and the preservation of the family's wealth against dispersal or mismanagement. This proactive structure ensures that the value generated by your hard work continues to thrive and benefit future generations efficiently and as planned. The exploration of market niches with low saturation and high demand, constitutes a path to wealth that requires insight and adaptability. Instead of competing in already consolidated and highly competitive sectors, where differentiation is arduous and profit margins can be tight, focusing on less explored segments allows one to occupy a prominent space with less marketing effort and greater customer loyalty. Think about creating customized solutions to meet the specific needs of minority groups, or developing products and services that use emerging technologies to solve unprecedented problems. An example would be offering specialized consulting in artificial intelligence technologies for small and medium-sized enterprises that do not yet fully understand its potential, or creating a mobile app focused on a very particular hobby or interest, but with a global base of enthusiasts. Success in these arenas lies in identifying a gap and filling it with excellence, transforming your talent and your salary into a venture with high return potential. Financial resilience as a concept intrinsic to the sustainability of wealth. Building goes beyond simply establishing an emergency fund. It involves developing an inherent capacity to adapt to economic shocks and changes in the professional landscape. In practice, this may mean the active diversification of skills, as mentioned earlier, but also the construction of a robust social and professional support system. Having a network of contacts that offers emotional support, information exchange, and potentially collaboration opportunities in times of adversity is an invaluable asset. Consider a scenario where you are unexpectedly laid off. A strong network can provide crucial references, introduce you to unadvertised job openings, or even connect you with potential partners for a new venture. This multifaceted safety net acts as a buffer against unforeseen events, protecting the wealth already built and facilitating a rapid recovery and redirection of your career and investments. Finally, incorporating a long-term investment mindset into the most varied facets of financial life, from consumption decisions to career strategies, solidifies the path to lasting prosperity. This perspective transcends the mere allocation of capital in financial instruments. It permeates everyday choices. For example, instead of opting for a state-of-the-art cell phone that will depreciate rapidly, one might invest in a more durable and functional model and direct the savings toward the acquisition of an appreciating asset, like a stock or a real estate fund. Similarly, instead of spending hours on passive entertainment, dedicating time to learning a new skill or developing a side project represents a direct investment in your financial future. It is the daily practice of prioritizing what will bring sustainable and exponential benefits over time, transforming a salary into a foundation for a prosperous and secure financial future. As we weave together the threads of the strategies discussed, a panorama of possibilities previously hidden by routine emerges. We observe how discipline in resource management, combined with a strategic vision for capitalizing on skills and assets, shapes a robust personal financial ecosystem. The perspective broadens when we realize that every choice, no matter how simple it may seem, reverberates in the construction of a more solid and promising future. The foundations we establish, from the prudence of setting aside reserves to the calculated audacity in more profitable investments, are not merely isolated steps but components of an interconnected system whose effects multiply over time. It is like watching a seed germinate. The initial care of the soil, watering, and sunlight culminate in the strength and abundance of the mature plant. In this tapestry, understanding the complexities of the financial market and the nuances of tax legislation reveals itself not as an obstacle, but as a detailed map, capable of guiding navigation through turbulent waters and taking advantage of favorable currents. The intelligence to discern opportunities in less explored niches, the insight to negotiate with mastery, and the long-term vision that informs every consumption and investment decision converge on a common point: the empowerment of the individual to actively shape their financial destiny. We realize that a salary in its essence is not an endpoint, but the starting point for a journey of continuous growth, where applied knowledge translates into wealth and security. The journey we have traveled thus far allows us to glimpse a horizon where stability is not a mirage, but a tangible achievement, the fruit of consistent planning and execution. The idea of building wealth, far from being a privilege reserved for a few, reveals itself as a process accessible to those willing to learn, adapt, and persevere. The various strategies discussed act in synergy, reinforcing one another like the gears of a sophisticated mechanism that drives prosperity. As we contemplate the convergence of these approaches, the clarity on the next steps becomes sharper, preparing the ground for the final reflection and the consolidation of a vision for the future.